this is the first one that went like this, like a hundred
Yeah,
million views on Instagram in like 2 months.
yeah.
That's big with
That's crazy.
with no one involved, just me, a video in my house, and it just did its
Every
thing.
Yeah.
pair of computers
I'm
now
just
has
gonna do a clap
primary
for
control
sync.
with critical vehicle functions.
Okay, we are running on my end.
Thank you so much for joining today. I am ecstatic to talk about your music journey. I'm ecstatic to talk about this crazy ass moment you're having right now with like everything blowing up. And I am just thrilled that you are here.
I look forward. Thank you for having me.
If people don't know you, don't know who you are, don't know your background, like just kind of help us understand where you came from and how your music journey began.
So, for those that don't know, my name is Full Crate. I'm originally from Armenia and pretty much spent my teenage years in Amsterdam discovering who I am as a teenager when it comes to art in different forms. I would like to think that originally I was some type of a b-boy because, I think breakdance was the first love out of the elements, and then, graffiti and then skating. I did, roller skating, I did skateboarding and BMXing. I just did everything that came in art form. I come from a very artistic family. My mom's dad, my grandpa was a famous Armenian painter. So
Oh,
it was
wow.
already part of my upbringing. And then at the age of 5 or 6, my parents, I don't want to say forced me, introduced me to classical music. And I was doing classical piano and choir. So definitely grew up with music early on and art generally. And that kind of translated into my teenage years when I discovered DJing. And I started DJing at the age of 16, so I've been DJing for a hot minute now. And the DJing became making music, and making music, started as a beat maker, and then slowly writing songs without realizing that I'm actually becoming a songwriter, and then singing. So that was just kind of the quick story of the journey.
I actually spent my childhood touring with my parents. I felt like I really like anything is possible. Like growing up with creative parents is a really unique gift.
I agree. I think parents being supportive of their kids' dreams, or at least creative hobbies, is
Hmm.
an important thing. And I definitely lucked out that my parents never said, don't do that. Yeah, there were definitely some guidelines as to what they would want me to do. But at the end of the day, I had a conversation with my dad once. My dad literally put me aside and he said, listen, you're doing music and you're doing sound design, and you're half-assing both of them right now.
Oh,
Pick
wow.
one and run with it, because you can only give so much focus one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. I chose music and just ran with it.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
dope. I love that. I love like having people in your life that can tell you that. Because I think
Hmm.
people are don't not everybody has the privilege of having someone that's that in tune with what
Hmm.
their craft is to even give them advice. I like to talk about the psychology of becoming, the psychology of going for your dreams a lot because I think that's the hardest part. It's the mental. Like it's people with less skills that's doing way crazy stuff because they
Hmm.
just believe and they just
Yeah,
make it
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
I feel like that this moment for you, in particular with the remix, which I want to hear about of that whole story that you did for Jungle,
Hmm.
like that blew up. And I'm curious in terms of timing, like, are you surprised at the timing? Like, how did that timing work out for you? You've been on your grind for a long time.
Um, I would say the effect of the remix that I did for Jungle back on 74 was not necessarily just a viral moment. I think it was years of slow and steady building a musical career, releasing a lot of music and remixes prior to that. I remember being on tour in Europe, and I was in my apartment in Amsterdam, and I just felt frustrated with all the super banging club stuff. It was getting very aggressive, and I felt like I was missing the warm and the soulful and the
Yeah.
sexy, smooth, and that's where I come from. Like I make music, and especially when I DJ or perform, my focus has always been doing it for women,
Mm.
creating a safe space for women within my music and environment. That has always been, because that's the inspiration. If women
Yeah,
inspire me to make the music that I make, which has been one of the main inspirations, not the only inspiration, but the main inspiration in my music and the way I write and compose. So yeah, I'm gonna, that's gonna be the outcome. And I think I did a show, which was a great show. I just something felt off for me because I felt like I was losing touch with who I really am as a musician, as an artist. And I don't know. I was just listening to Back on 74, the original by Jungle, which is an incredible record. Like, I'm a fan of them as a
it's
band,
crazy.
writers and composers. And I was just messing around with it. So I started working on this flip, not thinking anything of it. And then I hit up two of my homies, shout out Simon and Josh, who helped me. They played on that song. So I had these ideas, and I just literally we hopped on Zoom, and I was like, "Hey, I have this idea. Can you play this for me?" And then he was like, "Cool, cool, cool, cool." He played it, 30 minutes to an hour tops, and then they sent me the files. I chopped it up, rearranged it, do what I had to do, and never thought about it. I was like, and it sounded. I was very happy. Like, my soul was so happy with the
Mm,
warm vibe of it. So when I came back to my house in LA, I was like, "Oh, let me do like a little quick video test." So, and there's a painting in my dining room, which is the painting in that video. And I was like, "Oh, that's a cool painting. I like that painting." So I'll just sit down, record the video. And I did the video, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought, actually, I almost didn't post that video. I
oh my
thought
god.
nobody's gonna care. It's like a slow song. And I remember so many people and promoters or like certain agents, no shade once again, were saying like, "Oh, you gotta play a certain level of energy because we're trying to get, certain type of gigs." And I totally understand and respect the game. But it just felt frustrating, and I just needed to get something that's more me, which is soulful by origin. And I posted a video, and the rest is history, and it just blew up. Did I think it was gonna happen? No. The idea was to drop it as like a SoundCloud free Bandcamp,
Hmm.
because it's very rare to make a remix, which is initially is a bootleg, and I just use AI tools to get the acapella. And
Drop the name of the AI tool. Okay.
I use Serato Stem separator in Serato Studio. Shout out my Serato fam. That's
Okay.
like, if you're trying to
We
do
always
that,
talk about AI tools over here.
there we
So
go. No, I use a lot of AI in my modern like tech side of things. I got followed by Lydia, who sings the lead on Back on 74. And she hit me up saying, like, "Hey, this is dope." And at first I was like, "Is this really the person?"
I
Because, I
know
wasn't sure. Because I was, like,
that's
why would the person singing hit me up? But, you count your blessings, you accept it. And then I just hit her up saying, like, "Yo, I think this, like, you're incredible. What you guys did with that song is incredible. I'm honored that you even, hit me up on the DMs." Then I told my team, I was like, "Hey, can we possibly find out who released the song for them? And maybe we go like the publisher labor route."
hmm
And shout out to my team. They found their management, they hit them up. They liked the song, Jungle liked the song, and they replied saying, like, "Hey, maybe we can do like a official drop, like Spotify and everything, like an official remix." And I think it was a no-brainer for everyone.
It's fire. It's
Thank
fire.
you.
It's
Thank you.
fire. I
Thank
just
you.
want you to know you've gone platinum in my house. For
Yo,
for
it was
real.
funny.
For real.
So many comments. I've seen so many comments saying like you went platinum in my house.
No, it's the
That's
fact.
the biggest
It's just
compliment.
like
I
on
appreciate that.
repeat. Like it's been
Yeah.
giving me energy in life. Like the warmth of it. Like that's why I hit you up. I just like was
Mhm.
immediate like no, no, I need to talk to this person because
I
the vibe of that it really hit me. It kind of reminded me of even though it doesn't have the same sound at all. I'm talking about just like the emotional response.
mm,
I remember the first time I ever heard happy.
mm,
Um and I was just like having a bad day. I was stressed out. I was trying to figure out what my next move was going to be. And
mm,
like the song hit me in like the most emotional way where it was like I hadn't considered that in that moment that I could still be happy. And that's kind of what
mm,
I felt like the song was doing. And I feel like when I heard the Jungle remix, like it hit me in this way where I've been working hard, I've been hustling, I've been, like in this grind mode. And then it was warm. Like I felt like I was in a cocoon when I
mhm.
listened to it. And it just was like, yes, I missed this. I missed this sound. So thanks for creating that. Shit is dope.
Nah, thank you for saying that. Is because I created it for me.
Mhm.
It was an effect of me going through something and needing something for me to just have this output of like, okay, yes, I write a lot of amazing. I mean, I think it's amazing because otherwise I'm not gonna write it. I write a lot of amazing music. That's me. That's original music. But in that particular chunk of touring, I was creating the music, but I wasn't releasing it yet because we can talk about that because there's new music coming out soon.
Okay.
But it was a very, I don't know, I felt frustrated and stuck as like, also there's this, I don't want to say stigma, but it is a little bit around people assuming that you can only do one thing.
Yeah.
So
About that.
my entire career I struggled a lot with, so wait, are you gonna DJ your like Spotify releases? And I'm like, why do I have to DJ my Spotify releases? Like, yeah, I'll play some of my originals, but my original music is way slower, way more emotional. It's like more music. It's not club related.
Mhm.
And when I play live shows as a music artist, they're like, wait, so are you gonna? I'm like, it's not that difficult. As a DJ, I play the music that I love. I headline and perform as a DJ, and I play my own remixes, my own originals, and other songs that I like. As a
Mhm.
live show set up with a band, I play my original songs,
Mhm.
and that's all there is to it. But it seems so hard for so many people to grasp that. Oh, so you don't just do one thing, and I'm like, no, I also paint and I also build furniture just because I like it. Like
You're a
more
real
do it.
creative.
I
Like,
think every creative can do whatever they want.
yeah, I think creatives is more about the medium doesn't matter. It's the
Hmm.
story
Hmm.
behind it. And then as you gain technical skills, you are able to translate that story into a new medium.
For
But
sure.
the medium is just it's a byproduct. The
Hmm.
expression is the thing. Like
Exactly.
that's how it
Exactly.
works. How have you been like rediscovering yourself? I go deep. How have you been
I love that.
rediscovering yourself in this season? Because I do think that like everybody is trying to have this moment that you just had,
Hmm.
and then you get a moment like this, and then it's like, oh shit, like are you ready? Do you have the team? Do you know like there's a lot of things that can be leveraged in a
Hmm.
moment like do you feel that? And how does it feel to be in that moment?
I think it's a good question. And I'll go back to the way we started this thing that for me, it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I wasn't doing anything and now I went viral. Like, that's not the way I look at it because
Yeah.
there's 2 decades of building a career and a decade of professionally being a music artist.
Yep.
So prior to this moment, and this is not like a, oh, look at me, but just realistically, I've toured the world for the past 10 years, sold out shows. So that moment wasn't necessarily my first like, oh my God. You know, I had multiple viral moments even pre-social media or like
Mhm.
early start social media, just in different formats. This is definitely the biggest one so far in terms of reach and numbers. But that's not true. I mean, I got songs that are bigger than this song, technically are bigger. But in the modern format of going viral, this is the first one that went like this, you know, like 100
Yeah,
million views on Instagram in like 2 months.
yeah.
That's big with
That's crazy.
with no one involved, just me, a video in my house, and it just did its thing.
Yeah.
I think we were prepared as a team because I have a management, I have a publisher, like
Mhm.
we're building this thing for years. Last year, I don't know if you know or not, and I don't assume that people know everything about it. Like here, I'll show you. Shameless plug. I dropped my debut album last year. So,
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
I've heard it.
that was already like a huge moment. It was like a big
Yeah.
promo. We had billboards and everything. So I feel like this momentum of this song going viral, it was definitely the cherry on top that just lifts everything, and you just get this bigger, newer fan base. And yeah, we were ready because like I mentioned before, I've been writing music, so my new stuff. I don't know if I can leak information yet, but there's definitely new music coming very, very soon.
On fight.
Original music. I try to not do the one trick pony because my DMs are flooded with, can you do a remix of this? Can you do a remix? From
Mhm.
smaller artists to like really massive major artists hitting me up like, can you do a remix? And I'm very careful with not becoming the remix guy or the this thing or
Mhm.
that. So I truly believe in balance and doing what makes me happy.
What was the first person you added to your team? And
Hmm.
like how did you develop your team over time as an artist? Because I feel like it's really difficult, particularly in the early parts of it, because you got to build your team based on people believing in your potential. You're not
Hmm.
necessarily being able to dole out a whole bunch of cash at first. So,
Hmm.
like, just like from a practical level, how did you craft your team?
I think that's a great question. People should talk about that more because behind every artist, there's definitely a team. It could be one person, or it could be you
Mhm.
know, a group of people. For me, there's definitely a team. It's been 10 plus years, and I do want to put like a little side note in there that I've had. This might not be the moment that I wasn't ready in terms of oh my god, what am I? Because we were ready when it happened. It was just, hey, this dope thing is happening. How we gonna handle this? And we're still handling it. Like great opportunity,
Mhm.
but there was no panic involved. But early on, definitely my first song that I signed to a major, that at the time was my first time going viral, which had like 1 million streams on YouTube at a time where only like the big celebrities were gaining millions
Yeah,
of streams.
yeah.
And then we ended up signing a major deal. That was a panic mode. That was like, oh, what are we doing? Like, how do we do? We know nothing about contracts. We know nothing about lawyers. None of da. And then that's around that time that I start building my team. My management now, I've been with them for 10 plus years, and
Oh,
that's
that's
like when I say day one, you might as well say day -1 because they have been there for a minute. Um,
that's the ramen crew.
that's literally, I said the croissant crew because at the time the only budget I had was 2 croissants and maybe a ramen. um, but no, jokes aside, I started with my manager who I'm still with. I have two managers. They work as like a business duo, and one of my managers, he did, I think he was like the artist liaison for this project we did with Bacardi a very long time ago. And he just happened to be the point for the artist. He was making sure the communication between the artist and the brand and whoever, like the agencies, were involved. And we were just doing it was like a performance making music type thing for an event. And after that, I used to be in this duo with my homie Mar. We went by full credit Mar before I kind of like went solo and he went solo. And I remember hitting him up and said, "Hey, would you be down to manage us and help us?" And then he said no. And we're like, "Oh well, we try." I think I asked him a couple of times, and he's like, "Yeah, no," because he was doing events. He's not interested. And a year later, he hit me up and he said, "Hey, are you still looking for a manager?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I think I might be able to help you." And the rest was kind of history. Later on, he started inviting my other manager, and she used to work at Sony, and she would just it would be on some I need some advice basis, like maybe
Mhm.
every now and then it became once a week she would pull up to the office and help, and then that kind of became an official business partnership of them just running a management company and signing multiple artists. I believe I was the first. I think I was definitely the first, and then now they have incredible artists on their roster that travel the world and do amazing things. So I always say I kind of lucked out. Yes, I put in the work, and and you attract what you attract, but I definitely lucked out with the team that they they were there for me. Like you say, they were there for me when there was no money involved, when there was no
Mhm.
budgets involved, with nobody was eating, so to speak, from the
Yeah.
career, and they understood, they saw the vision. To be fair, my team has saw the vision and probably still see a bigger vision than I do
Wow.
a lot of times. Even though I have the vision and the mood board for what I want to do, a
Yeah.
lot of times us as artists, we're so zoomed in into like this little thing. um the snare needs to sound better at 300 hertz, and we gotta like we're so zoomed in into that thing that we don't realize there's like a bigger picture. And I definitely owe a lot to my management because they've seen the vision. Even, and what I like about them is that they're brutally honest. That if they
Mhm.
hate the song, they'll say we hate the song because X, Y, and Z. But
Yeah.
they also say, but that's just our opinion. If you love the song, we're gonna run with it.
Mhm.
So I think finding the right people that believe in you, not just for the money, and the money is like a great side effect, obviously, but
Mhm.
somebody has to believe in you and for your vision, and bigger than, hey, we can like flip this one song. There has to be a bigger vision for the future. Like, what are we doing? Currently wrapping up my next, what I think is going to be EP, which is original music that's gonna drop very soon. I even think next month. I'm a just we're just gonna leak it out here. I think next
Okay.
month we'll be
Okay.
dropping a song, and I'm very excited. I've been writing a lot, and this is just that great momentum because, if you look from a technical perspective, my Spotify was already doing phenomenal and I was already
Hmm.
extremely happy, reaching a million monthly listeners on just my own music. That's a
Yeah.
huge thing as an indie artist. And then to double that within a month with that remix is a great momentum. So we're trying to just keep it going and just follow the vision. I think follow the gut feeling of just creating. And I think I've been kind of like prepping my whole life, and it's going to be a life journey. I just do what I love, and I'm truly blessed to be able to do it with so many amazing people around me. And I get to talk to people like you, co-creatives that give me the opportunity to share my vision and my voice. So I get my moxie from a lot of different things. Main ones would be my family, and then the ongoing thing. And there's three things actually that really, really, really help me. One, Beyonce has the same 24 hours as we do.
Come on, talk about my queen.
And I mean that in the most respectful way to everybody, including Beyonce, obviously. So be smart with your time and prioritize the things that are important for you, and just do what makes you happy. And if you can't, work towards those goals and dreams. And everybody has a different journey. That's very, very legit. Two, I've seen this illustration of this guy digging for a diamond, and then he was one hit away from finding the diamond. He turned around, and that analogy really helped me
Mhm.
kind of keep pushing at moments where you're like feeling that why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? It feels like for nothing. Maybe you're at the wrong door. Open up a new door. Maybe you're at the wrong house. Maybe you like working really hard, but you working towards a wall instead of a door or a window or a new opening. So I try to pivot every now and then, and even if it gets too hard, I try to remember that the image, and don't give up too quick, and know when to give up, or maybe don't give up, pivot and figure out a new way to approach the situation, and or give it a break. Taking a break is really important. And the third one would be, I didn't get this far just to get this far. I think that has been a very inspiring thing for me. My family gave me opportunities in life that I didn't think I have growing up, so I'll be damned if I kind of like drop the ball on those opportunities. So that inspires me every day to get up, even on the toughest days, even when I have anxiety or panic attacks or a rough day or whatever I'm going through. I try to keep pushing, take a break, recharge, do what you got to go do, go to therapy, take care of yourself mentally, physically, etc. But just keep pushing because people are talented for a reason, and that talent needs to be translated into the world.
How do you see artists sustaining themselves in this current climate? Is it just touring or like what's been your experience?
I think myself as an artist, I do more than just one thing. So that has been very helpful. That, let's say, if I have a writer's block in writing my own songs, I can lean on making a remix or performing as a DJ. If I feel like I don't want to be in a club till 3 in the morning and I don't want to do the DJ things, I can do a live tour with my band and sing my original songs. I think it's important to understand, what are you doing it for?
Sure.
Because there are different aspects to being a music artist, especially nowadays. I know artists that literally do it for the bag. They
Hmm.
could care less about the music being cool or this or that. And
Right.
then I know artists who care less about the bag and they just do it for the love of the music. I would say I'm more so the second. I care about the music first, and it just so happened that me and my team were able to turn that into a business, a functioning business. But this
Hmm.
is also 10 plus years of investing every penny, every blood and sweat and tears that I
Say
have.
that.
I just, and there's a lot more going on the back end that people realize, because for every song that's being dropped, every video or every project, a remix, a mix, whatever you're doing, there's a lot more than just that 15-second clip or a 2 3 minute video that you see. And
Right.
especially coming from a format pre social media blowing up the way it does right now, where yeah, doing music videos is a thing. Like you need to either have people that believe in you and are down to do it no budget or low budget, or you
That
have to
part.
save money and shoot a big video, or you have to finesse it. I was lucky enough to graduate film school and be a nerdy techie geek, and I love film gear. So like I finesse it.
Mm.
Like I can make a video look like 20K, but we'll spend three ramen packets and afternoon is like hanging out with some homies and making
Right.
something cool. But I also spend a lot of my free time, I'm a student of YouTube University. Like I'm on YouTube watching tutorials, calling my friends, being like, "Hey, how does this work? I love learning." I think people need to figure out what it is they want and make a plan for themselves and be ready to pivot in certain situations because you might want to do certain things and then the next thing you know your song blew up and now you have to be ready for that. So it's just playing chess. But if you don't have the money or the machine or the means to get the song out there, the only way you're going to get it out there if you make something truly to yourself and consistency. I've been consistent releasing music when nobody wanted to listen to, going from 100 plays on SoundCloud and being extremely happy with those 100 plays to
Hmm.
now 100 million, you know, streams. But that's not like overnight. That's a decade
Right.
of hard work and dedication and not giving up when you feel like you want to give up.
Talking about making music that makes you feel good. This is a good transition. My jam of yours is "Show Her the Way," the
Mm.
joint with BJ. BJ's my boy. How did that process come about? Like, what was that? What was the inspiration behind that? And how did that collaboration come about? And what did you learn from it?
That's a great question. I didn't expect that, which I really like. So that song has an interesting story because prior it being on my debut album, it was actually a snippet interlude on an EP, I think 2 years before last year. And I made that record in 20, I think right before the pandemic hit. It was like January 2020. I was in LA and I was hanging out with my homie Abo Studio, and he's a great composer, producer, and a writer. And we were jamming, and then my other homie JMO, who's a legendary producer and guitar player, used to play with Prince,
Hmm.
a lot of other amazing people. He's just the goat, And he pulled up, and we were just jamming and making just getting the ideas out there and recording some stuff. And that instrumental got created that day. And fun fact, the drums on that majority of the drums are recorded with my iPhone,
No
just with
way.
a voice note app, and then I finessed it in Ableton to make it sound a little thicker. Because we were just jamming, we were like, we're not gonna mic these drums. They were in the living room, so we just boom, iPhone recorded it, made the quick beat idea. At the time, BJ had followed me on Instagram, and I think I was already following him, and I've been a fan for a very long time. Um,
Hmm.
and then, we exchanged info. I sent him a pack of songs that I was like, hey, let's work on music. He was like, cool. And that instrumental was in there.
Wow.
One day I get a text message saying, hey, what's up, bro? Here's the file. I wrote something to it. Let me know what you think. And if you're trying to finish it, let's get together and finish it. And
Mm,
I didn't have it. It was like an unknown number. So I'm like, I was like, who is this? And he said,
right.
what's up, bro? It's BJ. And I'm like, oh, snap. That's so dope. And I listened to it, and it was a killer hook that he was singing.
Man.
Right? And right away, I hit up everybody involved. I was like, yo, I think we should put this on my album. Because even though it was like on my EP, but it was an interlude, let me redo the record. So now I'm stuck in a studio thinking, okay, I'm supposed to be singing on this. But how am I going to sing with BJ? Because, BJ,
Uh-huh.
me. Man, I was petrified. I'm not gonna lie, because to be on a
You did
record
your
with BJ
thing
was
though.
crazy.
You did your
Thank you.
thing.
I
You did your
appreciate that.
thing.
And then and just we're sitting like this. Oh man, I hope he doesn't hate it. And then he responded. His first response was fire emojis, like 2 rows of fire emojis. I was like, oh, whew, he doesn't hate
That's
it.
always, yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. And then he loved it. I loved it. And then the extra cool part is that I told him like, listen, I'm trying to do some harmonies on the verses, and then he said, I got you. He's like, don't worry about it. And then he ad libbed my verses with his harmony. Yeah, it was like a dream come true.
It's on
Um,
some it felt like some are you familiar with foreign exchange?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are the
It
homies. Yeah.
Yeah, Nico and
Nicolay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nicolay and them, yeah. That just
Fonte.
felt like that came together in such a similar magical
Mm,
it just felt good to the soul. So like when you're talking about you do things that going back to your answer to a previous question, you do
mm,
things with an intention behind it,
yeah.
not just for the bag. The way that came together, it was healing. So
Mm.
that's why that song matters so much. It was healing for me. Like I play it around when there's shit, when there's tension in the house. I'm like, let me go, let me throw this on. So it sounded like there was a little bit of a personal story in there. Like I don't know if that was just your, you said your friend helped you, kind of write that
I
song,
know
but it
from
felt
the writing
very personal.
perspective, it was super. The whole album, I wrote it from me, is my life and my life experiences, and whoever featured on it, they like co-wrote
Beautiful.
about the subject from their experiences. But in
Okay,
this
yeah.
case, the song with BJ, "Show Her the Way," was about, or is about, being, for me, being in a relationship that at the time was something new for me, experiencing a certain level of honesty, because there's like different levels of honesty in relationships, and that was like this new experience for me to be like, wow, I can be this honest with this person and this honest is this honest with me. It was incredible. It was like super duper beautiful, and that's what the song is about.
So what would be your dream collaboration?
There is the, I call it the duh list, which is, the Stevies and like the super goat legends.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah.
gonna go over those because I think they're on everybody's list.
They're on the
I'd
Rushmore.
say right now, on top of my list, Tyler the Creator, Jordan
Mm,
Ward,
mm,
Willow Smith,
mm.
her,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
for sure.
oh, Jasmine Sullivan, like super duper on top of the list. Pharrell, which is pretty much on the duh list, so I don't have
Yeah.
to mention that. Like, man, there's so many incredible artists out there. Infinity Song, I absolutely love Infinity Song.
Hmm.
Um, they're a soft rock band from New York, and I love what they make. Phew. Those are the
That's
ones that are like,
that's beautiful.
yeah,
That's a great list. That's a great list.
yeah,
And so you
yeah.
put it out in the universe.
Hey,
So
it's there.
now
We're gonna
it's there
manifest it.
now. They're
Yes,
gonna hear
100%.
it. So a year from now, all the people will be off of your bucket list and you'll be 100 million even higher. So
There we
I
go.
just want to I want to say thank you for the time that you
Yeah, man. Thank you
devoted
for
to
having
speak with
me.
us. Thank you
Likewise, thank
again.
you for having me, both of you, and thank you for asking really dope questions, because this feels like a conversation we can have for hours. So it's really beautiful.
For sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
appreciate both of you.
Yeah, it was a
All right.
vibe. It was a
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah,
When
yeah.
you get behind it, it works. So thanks for everything and just us all coming
Appreciate
up
that.
with you.